All right, welcome to the Curtain Wire with Jared. Today I have Avery Bradley, the current Miss Iowa USA teen, on today. So Avery, thank you for coming and joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Yes, glad to have you here. Let's first talk about just Avery before we get into the whole pageant thing.
Okay.
So tell us like where you're at in school,
hmm
maybe like what your favorite subject is, and any extracurriculars you're involved in.
Okay, yeah. So I'm a sophomore, or sorry, I'm gonna be a junior. I just got done with my sophomore year at Muscatine High School. I love math. I'm a big math nerd. Always have since I was little. It's been my favorite subject. And then I'm also involved in track at my school. I'm a runner. I do the 400 hurdles, which I've been told is like the hardest event in track, but I love it so much. It's a tough one, but it's very good.
Nice, nice. And then, how has it been like balancing everything for you? Like, what do you do to
hmm
like balance like your life, all the stuff you're involved in, school, and like the pageant and everything? How do you balance all of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely can be difficult because, I'm just involved in so many things. And then obviously having a title, it can be very time consuming because you're constantly in the community and prepping for nationals and all those things. But I obviously have gotten very good at being organized over the past couple of years with being involved. And then I am also very, very lucky to have a strong support system. My mom is like the best, and I have such a great team behind me. So I know that they're really helpful and that I can go further because of them.
Nice. And we'll transition to the pageant world here.
Okay.
What, and you've probably been asked this before, but what inspired, like when did you start competing in pageants and what inspired you to compete in pageants?
So I started when I was about 7 years old, I think, and I was dancing at the time, and our studio owners were actually like, you should totally do a pageant. Like, that would be so fun for you. You'd do so good. So I did my first one, and I wasn't really sure what to think of it at the time, but then, when I started doing it, I was just instantly hooked. I loved meeting all the girls. I love getting to go on stage and do all the things like that. And so being involved really just got me interested in it, and so it's been something I just continued doing since then.
Yeah, absolutely. Was that the DeLongs? You're in their dance
Yes,
studio, right?
Heather and
Shout out, yes,
Stacy.
shout out Heather and
Yes,
Stacy.
of
Um,
course.
what was there anything? And so, I don't know if you knew this or not, but I judged a Miss Muscatine pageant in the past, and
hmm
I had like attended pageants, but I learned so much when I was judging that there was way more to the pageants than just the sash and the crown.
hmm
Was there anything that surprised you when you did your like first pageant, like where you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this was involved, like this was involved?
Yeah, so during like my first pageant, a lot of the things that we do throughout the week would be like community service projects or obviously rehearsals and things like that too. But I think when I just learned about all of the community involvement that came along with pageants, that was a big thing for me because obviously what a lot of people see is just the crown and sash, but then
Yep.
there's just so much more behind it. And I've loved being able to get involved with my community, and through pageants has it's helped me create my own initiative, which is a fraction ahead advocating for girls in STEM. So that has been a really big thing for me because I've been able to impact over 7,000 students across the state of Iowa with that, which I would have never thought possible. But pageants have really helped me be more confident myself and be more of a leader. And I've really loved benefiting from that.
Yeah, absolutely. And for anyone listening, so when when I judged my first pageant, I had no idea that there was day interviews. I didn't know that was like a whole thing. I thought it was just like the evening stuff. I didn't know there was like
hmm
the preliminaries. I didn't know that the
hmm
each of the contestants had like a community service initiative or whatever that the platform or whatever. Like I knew none of that. And so I just even I'm so glad because my doing my first one in Iowa, they offered a really good judges training for us to learn
Yeah.
all that. And I remember being like, oh, there's like way more to
hmm
pageantry than I thought, just from just having watched it in the past and
For
everything.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, do you have, we'll say, a favorite part of competing in pageants and maybe not so much favorites?
Okay. Well, I'll start with my not so much favorite. When
Sure.
this is only this has gotten so much better throughout the years, but when I was younger, interview was definitely the thing that I would stress about the most, which
Yep.
now though I've grown to love it because I love being able to, share my story, get to talk with the judges, and it's honestly just a fun conversation that you get to have with them and, be myself, be the personality because you don't always get to see all of that on stage. So to have that personal time to express that is awesome. My favorite part though, I absolutely love fitness, especially just competing this last weekend. That was my favorite part of the competition. I love getting to have a cute outfit on and the upbeat energy of it. I feel like is very expressive, and I love doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you, I mean, you're still so young too, but what do you feel like in the time of you competing in pageants, what do you feel like you've like learned so far and what skill sets have you built for yourself?
Yeah, I've learned just a lot about how to use my voice and create change with that, especially just like growing as a leader and within my public speaking skills. When I was younger, I used to be shy. And so being able to develop that through pageantry has been really special to me because now I get to go to community events and I go into classrooms a lot with my service initiative, Fraction Ahead, and I do STEM kits with the kids there, and we do hands-on activities, and I always give a little presentation to them at the beginning about what STEM kind of is. And so just being able to do that is something that I would never have imagined when I was little. So to see where I've come from there is super cool.
Yeah, and I'm curious with your initiative and everything, how have like kids responded
Hmm.
when you go there? Like, does it get them like really interested? I'm sure it does, but like, how have they responded to that?
Yeah, so they get so excited over the projects I've taken. It's so cute. I love it. I we do these things where we build structures out of toothpicks and marshmallows together, and they are so creative. I'm absolutely amazed every single time I go in. They're making shapes and animals and structures. It's so cool. And then they always, they're always excited. And then I've had like kids come up to me and they're like, "Oh my gosh, are you a princess?" So then I have to tell them, "Yes, of course."
Yes,
And then they're like,
yep.
"This is so cool. I didn't know princesses did this." And that those interactions like that are so cool to me because I feel like, I've really broken that stereotype of what someone who does STEM should look like. And then they're like, "Oh, I can do that too." And then they continue to pursue it.
Sure. Yeah, and that kind of leads me to my next question here. What do you feel, so let's say, I mean, you're in the teen division, so you're still
Hmm.
very young,
Hmm.
but to girls that are maybe like younger than you that are thinking about competing, what would be your advice for them?
I would say go for it, because you're never gonna regret doing it. Getting involved in pageants, I've never had one thought where I was like, "Oh, I wish I never would have done it," because I've just grown so much as an individual from doing them. And I think it really helps you find what you're passionate about, and gives you that voice to create change with that, which is obviously something that I found a lot in my own initiative, but also just making a difference in the community because once you start getting involved in pageants or within your community, it's something that just continues kind of throughout your life. And I think that's really special.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. And can you share your former titles that you've held prior to Miss Teen USA or Miss Teen
Okay.
Iowa USA?
Yeah, so I originally started my pageant journey with the Miss Iowa Youth program. They were so super cool to get involved with. It's Heather and Stacy that do
Yes, shout out
that.
again. Yes,
Yes, shout
yep.
out to them. They run that, and so that's I had little, and I was little in junior Miss Iowa, which that is what really launched me into starting pageants in the first place. And then it kind of got me into the realm of Miss America. So I did Miss Iowa's teen, and then I was loving the way USA was going with all of that. So I was like, I have to do this. It would be so cool to get involved with. And so then here I am now as Miss Iowa Teen USA.
Yeah, and so you had the experience of doing nationals through the Miss America system. So everyone
Hmm.
listening, Miss America is a separate pageant system from Miss USA.
Hmm.
Just to clarify that for anyone listening that may not know that. What do you feel like you took? Because you did really very well there, I recall. You got
Thank
to like
you.
the finals and everything. So what do you have you taken anything from that experience and even applied it to this next, to the journey in the Miss USA system?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Anytime I do a pageant, there's always something that I learn from the previous and continue to improve myself. Whether it's on interview, with on stage, walking, anything like that, I continue to improve. But I think Miss America was a great experience because it was a big national level, and I've never, I got to go on stage, and then obviously making finals was very exciting. And getting to recompete all of the events, or all of the, sorry, I'm a track girl,
Yeah.
I said events.
No, yeah, yeah. It's all good.
Re- Recompete all of the phases of the competition.
Yeah.
Uh, but I'll say I definitely learned how much confidence I have to bring when it comes to things like that. And watching obviously my videos back, I am always someone who's finding ways I can improve and setting goals to improve that. So that was a big thing leading into this. Has definitely helped me prepare.
That's so good that you do that because I mean, a lot of people don't like to watch themselves back or listen to
Mm-hmm.
themselves back on things, and it's hard because
Yes.
I've had to do it for things, and I'm like, oh, but it really does help you
Yes.
improve because
It's
you see stuff that you're like, oh, I didn't realize I was doing that, or I don't know where I can improve
Yeah,
this,
exactly.
and
It's always those little things you pick out that you're like, wow, I didn't even know I was doing that, and then you're like, okay, I gotta fix this for the next time. But it's really cool to benefit from that.
yeah, and so having a strong interest in like the STEM and also in track, how would you compare those two things to pageantry? Like, how do you think they cross over, like transferable,
Mm-hmm.
skills or anything?
First I'll just start with track.
Sure.
So, like I said, I do the 400 hurdles, and if you know anything about that event, it's very difficult. And there's been times where I've hit a hurdle, fallen down. I've had other people fall into my lane during that race, which is can be stressful. But those kinds of things teach me to get back up again, and it's helped with my leadership, and just helped me to learn to never give up and keep working hard, which is something that I apply all throughout my life, which obviously helps with pageantry as well, working hard towards my goals. And then when it comes to STEM, it's really taught me about using my voice and being an advocate for the things I'm passionate about so that, other people can see you in that position and understand that they can become that too, as someone who's relatable to other teens, or when you go into classrooms and kids get to look up to you, then it's kind of inspiring the next generation.
Yeah, absolutely. And along with that, then, do you have a role model in STEM or track or in the pageant system that you look up to yourself?
Well, there's someone, Sydney McLaughlin Leveroni. She is a 400 hurdler, Olympic champion, gold medalist. She is also the world record holder in that event. And I look up to her a lot in the realm of track, but just also all areas of life because she's so hardworking and she's very calm and humble before all of her races. And then obviously has great accomplishments. And that's something that I really aspire to be like about her.
Yeah, absolutely. And then do you have a favorite part, like, I guess like in STEM, like do you have a favorite like math or science or anything like do you have top favorites of those?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the
Mm-hmm.
exact categories, but categories of those, yeah.
Yeah. I love math the most. I mentioned it earlier, but it's been my favorite subject ever since I can remember. I don't know, I just love solving equations, and there's always one right answer that comes out of it, which is cool to me. And then I've obviously loved math so much, but I want to be an engineer someday. I'm specifically looking into aerospace engineering. I think that could be super cool to get involved with. And math has kind of led me into that realm. And I really appreciate it for that because if I hadn't started doing math, then I probably wouldn't be where I am today in regards to all my STEM stuff.
Yeah, and I was gonna ask you, and again, you're so young, but I was gonna like, do you have a plan of what you would like to do with that eventually someday? But you
Yeah.
answered that. So, let's so I want to talk. I'm not as familiar with the Miss USA system.
Okay.
There's not a talent in that one, correct? A
Correct.
talent
Correct.
portion, I
Yeah.
mean. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but there was in Miss America.
Mm-hmm.
And your
Yes.
talent, yeah, you want to tell us about your talent that you did for that?
Sure. Yeah. I am a dancer, so I competed a contemporary dance. It was to the song Voice of God at Miss America. And contemporary is definitely my favorite style of dance. It's very expressive. You get to tell a story through it. So I really like doing that.
Yeah, so your experience with Miss USA, compared to Miss America, like how are they similar and how are they different for you?
Well, I would say it's hard to compare right now because I haven't
Yeah,
experienced the
right.
national competition for Miss
Sure.
USA.
Yep.
But obviously, talent is a big difference for me. The state pageants were very different.
Yeah.
Iowa Week was a week long, and we did a lot of events versus the Miss Iowa USA was just the weekend. But I would say the competition is very similar. or not very similar, but you
Yeah.
get to obviously be on stage and you are, having to be confident and the onstage question and the interview, things like that. So there's definitely some similarities, but the no talent was a big one for me because as a dancer, it's different when you don't have to do that. But
Right.
I feel like it does take the stress off a little bit. I'm not worried
Oh,
about stretching and like
absolutely.
warming
Yeah.
up before I have to go on stage.
Right, absolutely. So for Miss Iowa, we'll talk about Miss Iowa, not Miss Iowa USA. Try to get those
Yeah,
differentiated here.
I
And that
know.
was just last weekend, right? That you
Yes,
took that
it
title.
was.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
so let's talk about if you recall, because I know sometimes people just blank out in this moment. What was going through your head like when it was like down to you and like the runner up, and then like what went through your head when you like when they called like when you won?
Oh my gosh,
If
you're
you
so right.
remember.
You're so
Yeah.
right about the not being able to remember because it's all
Yeah.
happening so fast. There's so much adrenaline. When it was just down to me and the runner up, I was very nervous, obviously, because I was like, oh my gosh, it's so close. But I was like, honestly, what will happen because it's meant to be that way. So if it's my time, then it is. If it's not, it's not, and I can just improve upon that for the next year. So I had to breathe and I was like, you can do it. Like it's all gonna be okay. And then when I was called, I was shocked. I was like, oh my gosh, whoa. But I had a picture, it was actually me. But then afterwards I was so grateful. We were hugging all the girls and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a dream come true and I can't wait to actually be able to go to Miss Teen USA. So
Yeah, this was your first time competing in this pageant
it
system,
was,
correct?
yes.
Okay. Okay. And what are you looking forward to for Miss Teen USA? And yeah, I forgot that's not until
August,
August.
yes.
Right. Okay. Yeah, what are you looking forward to competing there?
I'm
And
really
where is it at again this year? I don't
Miami.
Miami. Okay.
hmm
Okay.
hmm I am really excited to meet all the girls. It's really cool when you get to meet someone from every single state and make connections and things like that. Because you just find all the differences amongst everyone in your state, and it's like, whoa, it's so cool to see. But I'm also very excited for potential Brittany Link photo shoot that's coming up.
Oh,
They did one
yes.
last year, so
She's from Minnesota as well. Yes, she's
mhm.
in Minnesota. Yes.
Yes, I love her photos. She's so creative,
She's so
amazing,
talented.
such a great sponsor. And then obviously just being on stage at a national level, I think is a really amazing experience to go through.
Yeah, and it'll be so neat because I feel like it's gonna be different from like the Miss America experience. So it'll
hmm
be a whole
Yeah,
new.
a whole new national level. Obviously, national pageants, no matter where, are huge to be a part of, but they all have their differences. So getting to see that is going to be really cool.
Right, and I haven't seen anything yet. I was just actually checking. I'm sure they're probably gonna live stream or it's gonna air somewhere.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah. So if anyone listening wants to check in, the pageants and stuff, they'll probably
hmm
Miss USA website will probably be the best place to have that
Yes.
information.
Yes,
So
I would say.
yes, yeah. So the next thing I want to go into here, I want to talk about the hometown of Muscatine and the state of Iowa. So as a representative of, Muscatine and the state of Iowa, what do you love most about the city of Muscatine?
I really love the river from Muscatine. We're actually known as the Pearl of the Mississippi because we used to make pearl buttons here. But I love being able to go down, and the scenery is so pretty. There's a lot of parks you can walk along it. Along it, I always say that if I were to take you to Muscatine, we would be going to the river and we'd be going for a walk and getting to see all the sights.
Yeah, yeah. And how about for the state of Iowa? What are you most proud of, or what do you love most about Iowa as a whole?
Well, obviously, we have corn here.
Yes,
That's
yeah.
very, very special. But also, I really like Iowa Nice that we're known for because everyone has such friendly attitudes, and I think it's really special to be from a state where kindness is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. So Avery, as we wrap up here, can you tell us where we can follow your journey at? Can you share anything where we can follow your journey for
Yes.
everything?
Of course. You can follow my Instagram, my official title holder Instagram, which is Miss Iowa Teen USA. And then you can also follow my personal account, which is Avery Bradley Run Dance Crown. Um, on Instagram. I have a TikTok account, which is AveryLin09, so feel free to follow all of that. But yeah, definitely stay tuned for all the journey. There's going to be lots of posts, lots of thanking of sponsors, different events, and I hope you all can see it come together.
Yes, well, Avery, thank you so much for coming on today, and we are so excited to watch your journey and wish you the best of luck at
Yes.
Miss Teen USA. So, we wish you the best.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for coming on.
Bye.